You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 288. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, author of How to Get On Podcasts, the podcast matchmaker, and CEO and founder of the MLG Collective. I'm excited to share the stories and life lessons of changemakers and authors with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I am today with my co-host, Steph Hockersmith, the Pie Lady.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
It's our first episode, just the two of us. This is going to be a weekly Wednesday thing for everybody, so get used to it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here once a week.
I love it.
Be ready
I
for
am
all my
so
unhinged
excited.
thoughts.
I
I'm
love
excited
it.
to get out of the kitchen and chat, about
You're
stuff.
literally
So
in the kitchen. I can see it
I'm
behind you.
literally in the kitchen, but I am a little bit more removed. Like my desk is a little further away.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, before we started, it's a hot mess, the world.
It is. It is. Day drinking. That is what people do sometimes.
I haven't in a long, long time. I'll
And
be
that is
honest with you.
good. Michelle, that's so good. I honestly haven't either because I do need to function. It's hard when you want to drown your sorrows, but also need to function as a parent and, a professional. So,
Yeah, I always think school pickup could be a little bit fishy if I started.
agreed.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a friend that does that for me. So that's really, I actually pay her to get my kids because her kids go to the same school. So it's great. But still, I do need to be like functional for my children. So
I am the
yeah,
carpool
so
pickup for Tuesdays and
nice.
Thursdays, so it doesn't work. Yeah, I'm
No, and that's
responsible for multiple
okay.
children.
That's good. We're being responsible. We're making good choices. But yeah, it is hard. What do you do for self-care? Like, how do you, because you're such an amazing um, activist and advocate for, what you believe in, and you're constantly, you're working, you started California Moms for Good, and you're just doing all of this amazing stuff. How do you detox at the end of the day? Or are you kind of one of those people that's like, the more information, the better? What helps you?
There has to be a point to stop. I'm
Right.
finding that I didn't watch the joint congressional session this week because I was like, no, I know that it's not going to be good for me. I do reality TV because I think that
Great.
it's so not reality.
Yeah.
Although I do see more and more of like Real Housewives in real
Yeah.
life, and I just question what reality that is because that's not my
Yeah.
reality. But
Yeah.
yeah, some Real Housewives, some 90 Day, and then of course books. There is
Books.
constantly
Yes.
a lot more books. I know that you've read a ton this year. I am
Mm-hmm.
finding myself, I used to be a one book person at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and now it is multiple books. It is an
Yes.
audiobook. It is a book with my son. It is
Mm-hmm.
a client book. It is a fun book. It is multiples
I love
at the
that.
same time.
I love that so much. What is there a book that really stands out to you this last year so far, just the few months we've been in trudging through 2025 that's like really stood out to you or really like meant a lot to you?
Oh, that's a tough one because I know you've read 41, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're at 41, and I think I'm at 16 or 17,
That's awesome.
which is that's pretty. It's a lot for me. My goal this
That's
year
a
is
lot. That's a
100, but
lot of books. Yeah, that's a lot
yeah,
of books.
yeah.
I'm a big believer. I don't care if you read one book a year or 1,000 books a year, you're a reader. And that's, the most important thing. But 16, 17 is a lot of books we're only in the beginning of March.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, I am reading Nanda Reddy's A Girl Within a Girl Within a Girl. I'm
Mm,
actually in conversation with her tonight in San Francisco,
so exciting.
and there's disturbing elements of yet,
Mm,
this is really what's going on. And I think, as you and I have talked about before, books build empathy, and that's what I love is
hmm
that we get to experience something that we wouldn't normally experience. But at the
Right.
same time, there's so many of these books that I'm reading that I'm like, oh, this is extremely disturbing because it
Right.
really does happen.
Right.
I'm reading with Declan. We're reading When the World Was Ours, and it's
Mm,
about 9-year-olds during World War II, and two of
mm,
them are Jewish, one is
mm,
not. And Hitler comes into play, and he's in tears. Like I feel
mm,
so bad. He chose the book, and I've told him, I'm
mm.
like, you can option out. We can move on
Yeah.
to another book. He's like, no, I need to read this
Mm,
because this is really what happened. It's based on a true story. So
mm-hmm,
to see this from a child's perspective of what these
mm-hmm,
children went through, and then to see my son reading it and feeling it,
mm-hmm.
they're just big and heavy. And I don't know if those are the best books to go with right
I was
now.
gonna say, like, so, do you have some escapism books in there? Because, I mean, it's like I said, the books are so good for so many different elements, right? Like
Yeah.
empathy, teaching us, but then escapism is also a really big one, helping your brain refresh. Are there any that do you have like a genre? Like, are you like a secret like erotica fan, or like what do you love, Michelle? Like, what are we? Let's get into
My
the.
husband loves to remind me that I read 50 Shades, and he's always like, are you going to reread it?
He's like, please read, please.
Yeah.
There's this whole like TikTok trend that's like books that my husband read or loved but didn't read. And it's like all these romances. It's like he never read it, but he loves this book. I think it's so funny.
That's hilarious. Like I love a good just rom-com. Just
Yeah.
just because like I love something that's it's gonna make me feel happy. It's like a Hallmark
Yes.
movie where
Yeah, absolutely.
you know what's gonna happen. And
Yeah.
yet you're like, oh, I need that. I need the mushy
Yeah.
gushy cutesy
Yeah.
thing.
I
Yeah,
agree.
because everything else, like the next one for books that build book club is gonna be Women Are Angry. Like
Mm,
that's not
hmm.
that's not
These
gonna be
aren't
an
light, no.
escapism. No,
And
they're
they're
not light.
important, but yeah. I
Yeah.
actually had a friend yesterday say, we were talking about a certain book, it was a memoir, and she was like, oh, that's such an important story, like these are the books that are important. And I was like, what? I was like, all books are important, all of them, from because you need to learn about these issues in the world, right? And you need to learn and develop empathy for situations you aren't in yourself, but also you need to be able to function another day. And if a romance that's hilarious and funny and steamy and all the things you love, or a great whodunit, or whatever it is, whatever you dive into that helps your brain relax, if that helps you get up and live another day, that's so important, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and that's the life-saving power of books. And so, I think it's easy to put a lot of weight on the ones that like clearly show a lot of really deeper issues as important, but no, they're all. I love Catherine Center. She's a big proponent of that. I don't know if you've read any of her books. She writes the most joyful romances, and she talks about how she originally was from a literary background and like graduated from a like prestigious writing program, and everyone was very literary and depressing. And then one day she picked up, I think it was like a Tessa Dare novel, like one of the like the bodice ripper like
Oh, yeah,
romances,
Fabio on the
and she
cover.
just like read through it like so fast, and she went back by that night. She was going back to like Barnes and Noble or something to get the next one, and she just was like, I did that for like a year of just reading romance, and then so now she's on this kick of reading for joy, and she writes books that bring joy. And so um like you said, with the romances, you don't there's no surprises, and that's like she always says, that's my gift to you, right? Like, you're going to start this book and these people are going to end up together at the end, and that is my gift to you, so that you can get this moment of joy and butterflies and hilarity. You're laughing, and there's also no anxiety, because
Mm.
you can trust her that she's going to get you to a happy place at the end. And I think there's such a gift in that, and knowing, and don't get me wrong, I love like an angsty book that'll give me all the feelings, but there is such a gift in reading just a joyful book that like, oh, this is going to work out. This is going to be okay. They're going
Yeah.
to end on a happy note, like a Hallmark movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's therapy.
Yeah,
It's so
we
good.
need it. And I
We
find,
need it.
it's funny because as we're talking, I'm thinking about both of us and how we literally read books for our work.
Right.
And so a lot of what we read, we don't necessarily have the choice of
Yeah.
what we read, and
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, I love every book I read. I truly do love. There hasn't
Hmm.
been a book that I'm like, oh, yuck, now I
Right.
represent it. I
Right.
love every book that I'm reading,
Right.
but we're kind of like given these books of this is what
Mm-hmm.
you're going to read
Yeah.
versus I want to go pick this up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little different. So I think for, people out there who don't have to, we have to read for work, which is
Right.
the most
Which is
awesome
amazing.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
mean, like, it's
I
awesome.
dreamt
Yeah.
about this 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
remember I was on a beach with a friend and I told her, I go, I want to work with authors. I want to get paid
Mm,
to read. And
mm,
literally that is what I do. And it's
mm.
incredible and
Amazing.
amazing. And yet that means just I read even more
Mm.
because I still want to read for fun.
Yes. And it's
So,
important to do that. It's so important to do that.
and so what do you read for fun outside of all of the, because you have a plethora of different books that you have to read.
Yes. I'm kind of, I, uh, I'm thinking of a better way to word this than what I said last night. But I could love, it's hard for me to find a book I wouldn't love, right? Like, I mean, obviously there's some, and there's some that aren't as well written. I'm a big believer that are, you know, if a book, apart from it being completely separate from your beliefs, right? Like, let's just say like this book is in line with, it's just a book that you'd be fine to read. Maybe it's not hitting you at this right point and you put it down. I'm a big believer that the right book will find you at the right time, right? And so I have a very hard time reading any book and not finding something in it I can love or say, good things about, because I can at least, even if it's not hitting me emotionally at this most of the time, I think, well, that's where I'm at. But I can see how this story would impact people. So you can cut this out if you want, but I think I referred to myself as a book slut last night because I
Oh, we're
literally will read
keeping that in.
all the
We are
genres. I
keeping that
read
in.
all the genres. And I don't, I think when you're creating a brand and running a business, right, you think like, oh, I should be more linear, like people should know to come to me for thrillers or people should know to come to me for romance, especially in like the book world. But that's just not who I am. I will read anything and everything. And I love a book of poetry, I love a book of short stories, I think my favorite genres are rom-coms and thriller mysteries. I love thriller mysteries. I will say, as I've aged, I am getting more and more into literary, and I prefer like a literary mystery, which has a little bit more meat to it. It's almost like you're not reading just for the twist or the thrill. You're reading about these characters, more character driven. So then I love when I'm reading a mystery and then I almost forget that there's a mystery as a part of
Mm.
it. Like that's not what's driving the novel. I'm so ingrained in these characters and these people, like The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. That's a literary mystery. And it like just sucked me in so much. And then by the end, I was like, oh, I forgot we're trying to solve what happened here. Or like I thought we needed to figure this out because not that she distracted from it, but there's just so much more going on. And I think I find those really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I love a good romance. I just went through all of Allie Hazelwood's backlist. She's like a neuroscientist. Don't quote me. I'm a
Yeah.
neuroscientist.
No,
She's
she
like
is. My
brilliant.
my stepdaughter loves her because
Yes.
she's like
And
a bio major, and she's like, oh,
yes.
get her on the podcast. That's what she
Yes, her
says.
books, like she's got that STEM aspect to all of her books. The women are brilliant, they're feminist, they're strong, but then they're like these amazing guys, and there's just so much I've like loved. So I just went on this big Allie Hazelwood binge, and that was wonderful and so therapeutic. So it kind of depends. I'll go through phases where I'm like only listening to rom-coms or only listening to murder, and then I'll throw in like a historical or literary fiction in there every once in a while. So it kind of just depends.
I think something unique about the two of us, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
throw this out there, is that
Yeah.
every book that we work on, whether it is for work, it
Hmm.
is one that we talk about, it is whatever it is, every interview, we read the book cover to cover
Oh yes, we do.
or
We
listen to it.
read the book.
And listening
Yes.
is reading, but
Yes.
literally you and I, when we're talking books,
Hmm.
everybody, we've read every word that is in a
We
book.
exactly, absolutely. I remember in my early days of Bookstagram when this was just a hobby and I wasn't even making like the book pies. I was just, doing the picture with the dessert and, just for fun. It's easy to get caught up in the like, oh, well, this book will get views or this picture, you lose sight of it. And I think someone had made a comment about like, well, how was this book? And it hit me like, and this was like 7 years ago when I first started my page, and I was like, oh, I didn't read it. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like posting about books I haven't read. I don't like talking, if I'm going to post something or if I'm going to share something, like it needs to be something I've read, like
Hmm.
that I can genuinely speak to. And I appreciate that about you as well, that every guest you have on your podcast, you've actually read their work, you know what they do, and you're not just trying to flow through, guests to get, you're really like digging into, hey, I want to share what you do. I want to share your story. I want to share, the books you write. And I think that's really powerful. And it
And
really elevates the literature.
every book that is sent to me, I share somehow. So even
Yeah,
if I
I love that.
haven't read it, you will
Right.
see it and I will promote it and I will put it up because
Yeah.
it's a gift. It truly is a
Yeah, it
gift.
is. Absolutely.
So yeah, and to be able, I think it's also so important that we look at authors who aren't names that are like everyday household names.
Agreed.
I, I
Absolutely
I
agreed.
think it's so important because there's so many books out there. There's so many
Hmm.
authors, and you might not pick something up because you don't recognize the name, and
Hmm.
yet the story is so worthwhile that you need to
Absolutely.
pick it up.
Yes, I completely agree. And I love that both you and I work with a good amount of authors like that aren't like big household names. They're not the Hazlewoods, the blockbuster authors, but their work is phenomenal and moving and important. And so that's such an honor to get to work with people like that and get to highlight their work. It is such a gift.
Yeah, especially right now. And
Yeah,
like it's a shit show. Everybody knows our country's a shit show right now.
it's a
Uh,
mess. It's a mess.
and it's so important that we talk about books because we've got books that
Agreed.
are being banned. We
Hmm.
have, and even in blue state of California, we've got people who are wanting to come in and ban things. We've got, as we wait today, we're recording this like a week and a half before it'll air, but the DOE is to be dismantled as of today. So great, there goes education. What's going to happen with the books? And I think we as moms, it is so
Hmm.
important that we keep nurturing this love of reading for our
Agreed.
kids. What do your
Absolutely.
kids, how do you've got two boys, like
Hmm.
are they big readers? Or because we struggle. I've got a girl and a
Yeah.
boy, so we struggle a little bit, which is why we're reading together.
Yeah, I love that. They're not yet. It hasn't really gotten them yet. Cooper came home and he read a Marguerite Henry novel for school. And then he came home and like, she ended it with this like bang. And he was reading the end to me and we're both crying. And he closed it and he was like, whoa. And I was like, that is why I read, because that story was so transformative and so moving. And he was just he saw it, so he gets these glimmers of it, and like he loves reading through like the Wings of Fire graphic novels. He'll read every night. Both of my boys read every night, which I do think is probably more of an excuse to stay up later because they know I'll allow it. They'll be like, oh mama, let me read, and I will. So
Yeah.
they've got their flashlights, so Cooper goes through the Wings of Fire graphic novels, and then Bishop will read like a lot of like picture books and different things. I mean, he's 8 and he reads about it at an eighth grade level, but and he so they haven't gotten the bug yet. And I will say, I feel a little bad because everyone says, if you want your kids to read, you need to demonstrate it for them. Well, the way I do that is by listening to audiobooks. So it almost always seems like, you know I don't physically show them myself reading a book, but they know I'm reading, with my ears. So
Hmm.
so I hope that's still impactful. I mean, they obviously know I'm obsessed with books, and because they're all over our house, and I go into these deep talks with them. I'll like go, all these things, but we're not quite there yet. And I am trying to give them the space to develop a love of literature on their own. I probably allow a little too many electronics, if I'm honest.
Oh, same. Same.
It's hard, but I don't want to shove books at them. I kind of want them to get there on their own. So I try to like buy them books that I think they'll enjoy, or we go to the library and try to pick some out. And we're getting there slowly but surely. But I think, to echo what you said, just, I think we were even talking yesterday about how, sometimes we'll see authors say, I feel so bad promoting my book right now with the world the way it is. And we say, please do. We need your books. We need your books, from powerful memoirs to the lightest of joyful rom-coms. We need it all, because that is, literature changes the world. It educates the world, and it's everything. And so kids need that more than ever. And so I applaud all these people these heroes that are standing up to the book bans and are getting books in kids' hands, and fighting for literature, and fighting for everyone to be seen in literature, not books to just look like this certain type of person, but for people to see, oh, hey, like that child is like me, and they see that through a book. And I think that's,
Mhm.
I mean, because we read to know that we're not alone. I mean, that's one of the most powerful parts of reading, and kids need that. And so I applaud all of the heroes out there that are standing up to this and doing everything they can to, from teachers to librarians and booksellers, to keep the literature going, because I think that's like one of the most revolutionary things you can do during this time.
Yeah. And I'm with you on the devices. My
Yeah.
kids know that if they go, "Oh, we know it's past our time to be on our devices, but I'm on the Libby app and I'm reading a book." And I go,
Yes.
"Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
That's okay.
Keep
I'd
on
probably let them
your
pull an
iPad."
all-nighter if they're reading. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
very much like that. Yes. And I
I
have a
love
shirt.
that.
I just got a shirt from Motherhood for Good. It's
Yeah.
Kate Duffy in Wisconsin. It says, "I like banned books and I cannot
Ooh,
lie."
I
And
love that.
oh, the kids are like, "You got to wear that to school, mom. That's a
Oh,
good
I
shirt."
love
Because they know the
that.
rap song too. Because let me just tell
Yeah.
you what a great mom I am. My kids know Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know
Yes.
what? That
Parenting
there's nothing.
secrets.
Exactly. I love it so much. Oh my
Uh,
gosh, that's amazing. How old are your kids again? Remind me.
Declan just turned 10 this last
Okay.
week, and Katie will be 9 in 2 weeks.
Okay, so we're about the same, because Cooper is about to be 11 and Bishop just turned 8. So they're like around
Yeah.
kind of the same age. So that's
Yeah.
so fun.
They need
Do
a
they
book club.
love listen? Yeah. Do they listen to audiobooks or?
They don't.
Okay.
And Declan's more into like graphic novels.
Yeah.
And Katie, I've got her into Babysitter's Club. So she's reading like she's advanced. So she's
Hmm.
got some of these like teen romancy type
Yeah.
things where it's like the best friends are fighting over a boy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're
Uh,
8.
yeah. I don't
I
know.
don't know." Yeah. And she's like, "But I bought it at the book fair." All right. Cool.
That's great. Maybe
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I
But it's
totally
funny
understand.
to look back at these books that I read, like
Mm,
Babysitter's Club books. We read
mm,
some Ramona books, and
yeah.
like it's very interesting that some of these things we skated by on that today.
Mm.
You're like, oh,
Ooh,
maybe not.
that's I don't love that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Even watching back to some of the like 90s rom-coms we'd watch. Like I watched The Wedding Planner the other day with Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Lopez. And
yeah,
I remember loving that movie. And I was like rewatching it. I'm like, he's kind of a jerk. Like the way he treats her. And then like the whole, and I was like, I don't think I like this anymore. Now that I'm like old and kind of like, okay, that's not how we want to treat the guy. We don't take that from that. No,
yeah.
thank you. So that's
We're
so
more
funny.
aware now, but you are not old.
Yes, Michelle, I
You were
am.
not old. No, I don't even know how
Mhm.
old you are. If you want to disclose it, that's fine. I'll disclose
I'm
my age too.
40, and
Oh,
that is,
I
I'm
will be
there.
44 in July. So
Okay, so we're basically the same age, and you don't look it. And but I'm 40, and what's weird is yesterday I was 18, right? Like what? How did that happen? I
I
don't
literally,
understand.
as I'm making breakfast this morning, this is something that and tell me if this is normal because this thought goes through my head fairly often. I'm
Yeah,
like, how is it that I'm old enough to be preparing meals for 2 children that I'm
yeah,
responsible for? Who
yeah,
said that I could have a house and a business? Like, how is it that I'm responsible for this?
yeah.
Who said this was okay?
Who's the grown up? Yeah, like why am I allowed to be I think of that regularly.
Okay,
I'll look
good.
over at my husband, and we started dating our senior year of high school. So like he was like my high school sweetheart kind of at the end, and like I look at him and I'm like, are we playing dress up? Like are we just like what, did we have children? Like we actually have humans we're raising. Like that's crazy to me. It's just
Yeah.
it does not feel real. And I don't know that you're ever going to feel I think the common misconception is that when you're 40, you'll feel 40, like, right? Like you'll feel like a grown up. And I feel the furthest thing from it. And so it's wild. It is wild.
It's weird. I'm
It
like,
is weird.
at some point, like you have these kids and
Hmm.
then you're just supposed to know, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to send them
Yeah.
to school. You're going to register them for school. There's like no manual. And yet
No.
we just do it. And I'm like, okay, and we're going to
Yeah.
get you ready for school and we're going to
Yeah.
teach you to be grown-ups. And
Yes. The other day I was looking, I was like, how did I get you guys I like, you guys are at school. Like, I got you there. Like, you're like doing things, and it's crazy. I'm like, wow. Like, that is bonkers. It's just, it is wild. It goes so fast. You blink and you go from like 18 to 40 in like a split second. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And so do they.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, we went to a
But it's so
mother-son
I don't
dance.
talk about that stuff. Oh, I saw that. That
Oh,
was so cute.
it
We
was
did the
so
80s theme 2 years ago.
Oh, I love that. We missed it. So the school the boys go to, they do mother son dance through sixth grade, and then they start doing like normal dances, like with their peers. And we've missed it all the other years. And so this year, my boys were like, I was like, the mother son dance is coming up, and they were both like, no, we're not doing it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going. Okay, here are the options of what I could do. I could either sit in the corner and cry and say, Cooper and Bishop, would you come with me? Or I could come with a shirt that says Cooper and Bishop's mom, and then like a really tight shirt, and then dance like Will Ferrell in the cowbell sketch. So you pick which one you'd prefer, or would you like to come with me? And they were like, fine, we'll come. And my husband was like, it's great parenting. And I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes you have to, force them into it. And we had the best time. We had the best time. But of walking in with my, fifth grader, and I'm thinking, gosh, she's gonna be going to like boy girl dances soon. And like, I don't remember what that felt like. And I tried to teach him how to slow dance, and he was like, Mom, ew, this is so weird. I was like, okay, it's fine.
I got one slow dance and then he was like, I'm
Oh.
out. I'm going to go play. That
Oh,
was
but
it.
that's like one. Well, this they walked in, and they had like these glow stick things. So they're like kind of like mini lightsaber kind of a thing. I mean, they're not, but like these styrofoam glow stick things that you could like, and you put a bunch of elementary boys into a gym with glow sticks. I mean, it became a battle tag, right? Like, so finally, after about an hour or two, the DJ like pulled it in, and he played Mama by Boys to Men, which is not 80s, but oh, I was like singing so loud. And I was trying to slow dance with both of my boys at the same time, and they were like, oh. But it was
Ours turned a
wonderful.
little weird this year.
Did it?
They
What happened?
they wanted to have some sort of activities, it seemed. So
Yes.
at some point there were lightsabers that came out and a kid
Oh,
got poked in the eye and
oh,
crying. And so
okay.
that ended. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they brought out, the big inflatable plastic things that you put on a person.
Yeah.
They brought that out and
Oh my gosh.
they started with TK against TK. And then it became into Fight Club, and everyone got around and chanted, fight, fight, fight.
Gosh.
And there were moms who were like, this is so great. And they're taking video. And I'm in the corner going, what the is this?
Yeah.
I, I really
Yeah.
felt like this was like the survival of the fittest masculine, like
Yeah.
MAGA shit. I really
Oh
did.
my
I was like, this
gosh.
has to be shut down. It lasted till the first graders got up there, and then they're like, yeah, maybe this isn't great because we got kids
Maybe like
crying.
we
And
could
I'm like,
hurt people. Oh
fight,
my
fight, fight.
god.
What the hell is this? It was
Oh my
weird.
gosh.
And
That is
luckily, even
weird.
my son was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Why are we like, who's chanting fight, fight? And what moms are
Yeah.
thinking this is cute? It was weird. And yes, I'm being
That's
very judgmental because this was weird.
that is weird
Weird.
though. Like to bring your kid to a mother son dance and it turns into a fight club, like a baby fight club. Like, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
And that they were all okay with it. It was,
No.
yeah.
The guy who DJ'd, and he was kind of like running the show. He was 22, and I knew nothing about him before this. But then a friend of mine told me that his dad is a martial arts instructor, and the son is like travels the world competing in like MMA stuff. So he is like a literal human weapon, and he stood so like professionally like this, like he looked like a bodyguard, and then he'd like run the DJ booth. So like he was pretty, like he'd like get on the microphone and be like, as a reminder, please stop tearing down the decorations, and like everyone listened to him, because he was just like, he was 22, but he had this presence, So he wrangled everything into shape, and he like started playing the songs, and he like added more order, which was good because otherwise it would have been pure chaos and the boys are just running around like tackling each other. And I was like, but a fight club, I feel like he would have shut that down. I feel like he would have stepped in and been like, no, we're not
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah. You
So
send
that was
him
kind of
our
nice.
way,
But
please.
yeah, he was great. I mean, I was like, wow, you're 22. Like he felt like more of a grown up than me, honestly. So
Well, yeah, we're over here questioning who let us be in charge of human
exactly.
beings.
So
And we're like, yes, 22-year-old, please come
yeah,
and sit in.
he seemed very capable. So my
I
son said
love
he's
this.
a substitute teacher, and I was like, great. I feel like
Oh,
he'd be a great substitute teacher. So
yeah.
yeah,
Whip him into
yeah,
shape.
yeah. I was like,
I love
awesome.
this. We have gone from like books to some
Hmm.
politics to
To MMA
parenting to
substitute
Fight
teachers.
Club. Like,
Yes.
this is what this is going to be about every Wednesday.
These on Wednesdays, we wear pink. Well, we're not wearing pink. And also we're unhinged. These are the days. Maybe we consider it as like therapy hour where we just like speak all the unhinged thoughts that burn alive in us throughout the week.
That's the
And
plan.
then, that's the plan. I think it's like therapy. It's healthy to get this stuff out.
Maybe we need like a nickname for it. We'll
We
come up with
do.
something.
We will come up with
And we wear
something good.
blue. We don't wear pink. We
We
wear
don't wear. I don't
blue.
wear pink. I'm not a big pink person. My son loves pink, and he always has the most beautiful. And I think I'm kind of a disappointment because I'm not. I don't have like the pink and stuff. And then my husband, he's been growing his hair really long. So then tonight he was like, Steph, I'm gonna need you to braid my hair. And I was like Viking braids or like a French braid? And he was like a French braid. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't know how. And he's like, you don't know how to French braid? And I was like, well, first off, we have been together for over 20 years. Have you ever seen me French braid my hair? So what makes you think I would know? Second, I don't have girls, and not that like Bishop wouldn't want me to French braid his hair, but he's never asked. So I don't have like kids that are asking for fun hairstyles. I was like, no, I don't know how to do that, but I can give you like a basic braid. And he was like, oh my. So I was like, I'll call my mom. She can French braid your hair.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I don't know what he's going for. He's very like, Bishop gets his fashion sense from my husband. Dwayne's very like, he has these ideas of what he wants to do with his, but he's very Viking-y. He looks very Viking-y.
As long as
Except
there's
the
no man
beard.
bun. I'm going to put that right. No
Okay, he
man bun.
does
No,
sometimes. And
Dwayne.
I was
No,
like,
no, no.
but I don't love the man bun. I really don't. Um, but I do love the long hair. Like when it like curls, he kind of reminds me of like an 80s rocker. Like he's just like, I love that. But I do not love the man bun. And I don't know that I would love the braids, but I will let him, express himself, whatever he needs to do. I don't know. I don't know why the French braids needed. I thought he'd want like thick, like Viking braids in his hair. It'll be like, I don't know. So I don't know what we're doing, but he does his own thing.
I'm dying. Oh my gosh.
My boys are far fancier than I will ever be. So
Oh my God, I love it. And meanwhile, mine's leaving the house. And I go, you didn't brush your hair. I forgot. I go,
yeah.
no, you didn't forget because I literally looked at you and said, go brush your hair. And you said, okay. You didn't listen. And your hair is like this short. So
yeah.
just,
So just go do it.
do
Yeah.
something because it's sticking up and looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is he wearing deodorant yet? I mean, it's probably
Oh
like
yeah, they
2
both
parts
are.
inside.
No, they
Yes.
have for a while now because they are
Yeah.
stinky. They are
Yeah.
just, yeah, they just
Cooper.
stink on the regular.
Yes. Like, what is that? I was like, why do you smell?
Yeah,
And
we
then,
did Tom's and then Tom's no longer worked. So he's got
oh
like
no.
manly deodorant.
Yeah, Cooper has like Old Spice, right? And so in the mornings, I'll be like, did you put your deodorant on? And he's like, oh, and he like throws his shirt on the ground. He's like, why do I have to wear this? And I'm like, because you smell.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it's so funny.
Don't
Hygiene.
tell me I smell. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't smell.
Sorry, you just do. They're, oh, boys. Even Bishop, who is like loves everything beautiful and is very organized and artistic, he at the end of the day like is a stinky little boy, and he knows it, and he doesn't care. Like getting him to change his socks is like a whole thing. I'm like, oh my god. But it's okay. Those are the small battles. They're they're great kids, and we have now determined that we're grown-ups capable of raising them. So eventually all this should click, right?
It will. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point we were the same way somehow.
I'm sure.
And
Oh,
look at
it's
us
good.
now. Look at us
Yeah.
now on a podcast talking
We're on a
about,
podcast.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to hear another unhinged thought that I keep having? You have the cutest nose. Does anyone ever
Thank
tell
you.
you that? It is the cutest nose. If I were to get a nose job, which I will probably never afford, I would want your nose. It's so cute.
Thank you. It's my mom's nose.
It's so cute. Oh, it's
It
adorable.
goes up just a little. I
Yes,
remember
I love noses that grow up a little bit.
I think it was usually my mom who'd always say something about your nose, and it just goes up just a little,
Yeah, it's so
snooty.
cute.
Thank
No,
you.
I love it. It's so cute.
Thank you. I don't think I've gotten a
Mhm.
compliment on my nose in many, many decades.
Well, there you go.
Oh my
Today's the
gosh.
day. Unhinged Wednesdays.
Everybody,
Wild
everybody who's listening
Wednesdays.
is going to be like, I gotta go check out Michelle's nose.
Yeah, yeah, go everybody go check out Michelle's nose. She's beautiful. I bet she has the cutest nose. Yes, these are the kind of this is what happens when I spend my whole days not talking to other humans. I just listen to audiobooks and make the pies. And then you give me a forum to speak. And these are the things that are going to come out. So
This is gonna be so
we'll
much
see if I'm
fun.
back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see
Oh
if
yes.
Michelle lets me back for
Oh
another
yes.
Wednesday
We have a
chat.
standing date now. I love it. We're gonna
Oh
come
my
up with
gosh,
a
I love it too.
nickname for it too.
We are. We are.
We're gonna go throw
Any
some ideas.
suggestions are welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, or I'm just gonna throw it in Chat GPT. That's my new
Yeah.
thing is I
That's
love
your
to just
yeah.
feed it. Here's everything I want. Give me
Hmm.
ideas. And surprisingly, it's
Hmm.
like, how about this? And I love that it
Hmm.
asks me, is that what you wanted?
Oh,
No,
that's
I want
nice.
this. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Ooh,
You
that
can
is
boss it
nice.
around a bit.
Oh, I love that. I will say, I'm a little old school cranky about Chat GPT, only in reference to books. Like if you're gonna use Chat GPT for like your book reports or like book summaries, I would
Oh
not
no.
recommend that because first, one of the gals in my book club used it to like look up. We were talking about the book and we couldn't remember who a certain character was, so she just looked really fast and it totally was wrong. Like it like gave a complete wrong answer.
Yeah.
And then second, another time someone used it to get like a list of characters in the book to kind of help like figure out, well, one of them was like a spoiler because you like weren't supposed to know about that character yet. And I was like, oh, that's like a tool the author used to build suspense, is you don't know who this character is, but now you know. So
No.
don't look up anything about books on ChatGPT unless you already have read the book and you know what's happening.
I say use it if you already have content created to help you
Yes.
either fix it
Yes.
grammatically, make it
Yes.
pretty,
Ooh, that
or
would be
if
helpful.
you have an idea and you're like stuck of how do I title something, then I'm
Mm,
okay with using it.
I think that's a
Otherwise,
great idea. Yeah,
n-
that's great.
I don't use it as a search engine. No,
No, because
no,
it's not reliable.
no.
And then, and with the books, like there are times where you don't need to know, what's coming next, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
point, is there's supposed to be tension built with that. And so if you type it in, you'll get too much information.
Okay,
So
so
it's
what book are
good.
you reading for your book club?
This month we are reading Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. It was a Reba Jenna pick last
Mm-hmm.
year. So I'm very excited about that. We have a good mix this year. I did pull an Audible. I pull an Audible every year. Where I switch one of the books out. We vote on all 12 books before on December. That's how we do this. And I host like a Christmas dinner and I give them all the book suggestions ahead of time. Then everyone gets 12 votes and you can put all 12 toward one book or you can like split it up if you'd like. And this is my in-person book club, by the way, I don't have an online one yet. And then I organize the schedule for like what that's going to look like and try to make sure we have a good mix of genres in there. And but in August it was supposed to be, and August is my birthday month, so I consider that like my own special like book club month. And I had put all my votes to Kill Your Darlings by Peter Swanson. He writes the most like unhinged characters, so sociopaths that you end up loving. Like it's kind of, he just writes these complex thrillers that I really love the character development he gets in his books. But I recently just finished reading Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. It's the
Mm-hmm.
Reese's book club pick for this month. It's a Barnes and Noble book club pick. It was a book of the month add-on. I read that book in one day. I listened to it. The audiobook is incredible. And I cannot stop thinking about it. It's one of those books I finished and I was like, all right, this is going in the list of like favorite books of all time. And there were like 5 things in it that I usually don't like in books to be in the books that I read. And yet she managed to work everything in so beautifully and create this like these layers of depth and like meaning. And it was so powerful. I was weeping at the end. Anyway, so I pulled an audible and I switched Peter for Broken Country in August because I was like, we need to read this book. So maybe Peter will be next year. But I think the hard thing about thrillers and book club is they're really fun. They're usually a really popular choice. It's not always, then there's not always a lot to discuss, right? Whereas like with like literary books or memoirs or like other things where there's a little bit more meat, there's a lot more feeling, you know, the thrillers, it's usually like, did you see that coming? Or what did you think of this? You know, that kind of thing. I will say the book we had a really good discussion on was The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. Have you read that?
No.
So she released that in 2020. And what's really interesting about that is she based it off of that, so that, you know, that memoir, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, that's about the, I think the Golden State Killer. And the woman that wrote that, I think she may have died before it got finished, but she wrote that book, and then basically they ended up solving the mystery through the publication of that book. Like people were able to put the clues together and like catch the guy. And so Catherine Ryan Howard wrote a fictional book that was like similar to that called The Nothing Man. It takes place in Ireland. And it's basically about this serial killer called the Nothing Man. And there are the trigger wording. There are some, you know, you hear about his like home invasions and stuff. And so that's like hard to read, right? It is fiction, but one of his victims grows up and like writes this book. And then she's basically hoping with the publication that people will recognize things and bring it to light and like catch him. And it's so creative. It's so well done. I love it. It's one of my favorite thrillers ever. It reads almost more like true crime and like memoir, but it is fictional and it's amazing. And we had a really good discussion about that because it was, you know, there was kind of a lot more to pick apart. So that was really fun. But and what are you reading? And because you did mention it briefly earlier, but like the book club you're running, tell me about that. I know we're like almost out of time, but
Women Are Angry.
I love that.
And Jennifer Cox, who is a psychotherapist from London, is coming to San Jose.
That's
so
amazing.
She's coming so we can have an in-person book club chat with her.
Oh my gosh,
because we're all pissed anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why Your Rage is Hiding and How to Let It Out. Is the subtitle. So I thought that was very applicable for where we are right now.
That is so yes, absolutely. I love that. I love that.
I need to bring in some fiction too, but right now, like last month was Democracy in Retrograde. Like, how do we show up? How do we build community, use our voices? And now I'm like, how do we let our rage out? And so, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
We need to read. I feel like we need to find a book where we're reading it together too. And then,
I love that.
Yeah. Well, so many things are going to come, you guys.
We have so much to talk about. It's just going to be endless.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Oh I love it. I love it so much. Speaking of which, this is totally a subject that we were speaking about a while ago, but I didn't want to forget to say it. For your daughter, Stacey Lee, I don't know if she's read any of her books. She is in California. She's a California. She's Chinese American, I believe. And she writes YA fiction, but they're all very clean and they're historical fiction and they're really good. But her books have been subject to a lot of different book bans.
Oh, beautiful.
And for ridiculous reasons, right? Like she brought to light, you know, how some of the Chinese immigrants were used as slaves in the South. Like that's something you don't really hear about, right? And it got banned, I think, in like Texas because of that, like because they didn't want that portrayal. Her books are really good. So I was thinking about your daughter, if she's more advanced. Stacey Lee is a great author that you can almost always rely on them to be clean, but then really historically informative and like a really good story. And you learn a lot about Chinese culture through her characters, and they're really, really good. And she's just like a wonderful human. I want
to look at that one. I had posted on Threads that her and 4 of her little friends want to start a book club, and I asked for recommendations.
Awesome. Yeah,
it was crazy. It was like a thread that went viral. So
I need to look at the recs that showed up.
Attack of the Black Rectangles.
Ooh,
I haven't looked at all of them, but ban this book.
Nice.
And The Wish Tree.
Ooh, fun.
So she needs to get on her book club, which means that I need to get on the book club. Yeah. Yes, I mean, we need a tiny human book club.
I love that so much. I love it. As if
Yeah,
you're not doing all the other things, but you're
right.
so good at that. I love
No,
that though.
what's one more thing? What's
Yeah,
another
what's
book?
one more thing? Exactly.
Oh my goodness. I had a blast. This is going to be
This
so
was so
much
fun.
fun.
I cannot wait
Um,
till next Wednesday. I can't wait.
yes, we're going to be here. So
We're
tune
gonna
in,
be here.
everybody. Next
Yeah.
week, every Wednesday, Steph and Michelle will be here,
I can't
unhinged
wait.
and hot messes.
We just need we need a what was the oldest sister in Full House?
DJ.
DJ. We got a Steph and a Michelle. A DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
That's
MMA
right.
fighter who was your DJ.
Yeah, there we go. I was just thinking about that. I was like, Steph and Michelle. I was like, we feel like a 90s sitcom. I love it.
I love it. Oh my gosh. We watch it still, reruns here.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
man.
Steph.
This is so fun, Michelle. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Until next week.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you later.